Hi, and welcome to my next how-to. This is just going to be a basic video to kind of introduce the controls, kind of the would you call this a HUD? Nah, I'm going to call this the layout. Layout of the menu and things like that. Just kind of explain all the little details that you need to know in the beginning so you can start your adventure. I'll be doing this solo because my partner in crime is also, as we said in our introductory video, just starting the game. So this is also for him as well. Anyway, so this is how your typical layout is for if you download the client. If you use the Flash client in the web browser, some things get moved around and you might get some extra stuff. I prefer to download the client. One, I just like keeping it out of my browser. Uh, but two, as I said before, uh, I've I've played this for a very long time, and so they didn't have a web browser in the beginning, and so I'm just used to downloading my own client. Anyway, to give a quick lowdown, down here is your little chat window. You can have your different tabs for your different things. Usually, when you start up the game, you're only going to have the local chat and server log. These are the only ones that are like always available. The NPC tab you can open up by talking with NPCs. Um, I like to keep this one open because I don't like cluttering the screen with a bunch of chat and things like that. So it's also I don't like people knowing what I'm buying and things like that because it kind of lets them know what I have, what I'm buying, about how much money I'm carrying, and things like that. And when you're going around yelling, you want to buy 30 magic potions or health potions or something like that. They're like it easily tells the other characters and other players how much money you're carrying and makes you a target for PvP. So this is why I like doing most of my business in the NPC tab, so you can avoid some of that. These are your basically cooldown buttons. Your attack, healing, I think that's support, and then attack. Special. Okay, so basically, in the game you have an attack. You kind of have an attack speed, and you can't just spam your spells over and over again. Your spells have cooldowns as well. And this is where your cooldowns will be. So like when you do an attack, you'll see this light up and you'll see a bar start counting down. And when it goes back to graying out, you're able to do an attack again. Same with spells. With spells, I believe it is a combination of special is like your attack spells. This is support, which is like your buff spells, and then your healing spells are, well, obviously your healing spells. Next, over here we got our map. Um, you can use your wheel to kind of zoom in and out. The plus and minus are basically to, oh wait, no, yeah, plus or minus do the same thing. The little arrows, however, allow you to go above ground and underground, so you can kind of check out the different elevations and things like that. I've explored a pretty good chunk of the map, but as you can see, there's still areas of undiscovery. So Tibia is a very big world, and you probably, I would say it's probably very rare to have somebody fully explore the world. Not saying there isn't somebody who hasn't explored the world, but it's very unlikely. Okay, next is the red bar, which is your health, blue bar, which is your mana. This is your equipment. This is basically what you're wearing at the time. Um, and then this is your storage slot, helmet slot, necklace, weapon, armor, shield, ammunition, legs, rings, and boots. This right here is your capacity. Basically, this is how much your character can carry. As a knight, I can carry quite a lot. I'll be showing you my my sorcerer later on when I introduce you to the different spells and whatnot. Um, and you'll notice that there's a big difference in capacity. Your soul points, these are mostly for mages, in that in order to make a rune, you need to have soul points. I am not exactly sure. Let's see here. Oh, let's see here. Okay, yeah. So even with just regular spells, um, it doesn't take down your soul points. It's just for making runes and whatnot. Next, if you, I have Tibia Classic controls on, so I'm able to just right-click my things to open them up and whatnot. So like, right-click your backpack and you can open it up and see what's inside. And that's how you kind of control your inventory. Um, Backpacks, as you can see, have let's see here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 20 slots. Whereas there's another storage container called bags, which only has, I believe, 8. Yeah, 2 rows, so 8. You can also carry other stuff like parcels and things like that, but parcels themselves are very heavy. So while a parcel will give you 10 slots of storage, which is more than a bag, the weight of it is actually very heavy and thus not very efficient. Whereas if you look at a bag, it only weighs 18 ounces. So for 18 ounces, I get uh, 20 slots, which is actually quite efficient. That's like a 1.1. I don't know, 1 point something per slot. All right, next. Also, if you want to do a quick close and don't feel like moving to the X for some reason, or like maybe your mouse is up here and it's farther to get to there, you can just go over to your backpack and right-click it again, and it'll go away. Now, some of you are wondering, Tibia Classic controls, what's that? Well, this button right here opens the options. This is where you can kind of change all of your controls, hotkeys, and things like that. The graphics. And up here in the General tab, you have your Tibia Classic controls. Now, for those of you who have them off, you're probably getting messages like so. Um, wow, this is nice because it gives you like very specific options. I'm personally like the Tibia Classic controls because I don't like memorizing all of these different keys, like control right click does the same thing, but I don't like having to move my finger down to the control or the alt or shift and things like that. I'd rather just right click and be done with it, you know. So I typically keep the Tibia Classic controls on. uh, you can do whatever you want. Auto chase off. Okay, now this, I wonder if that will respond to this. Okay. I don't know what this auto chase is. Because honestly, all you had to do is switch to this, and that basically uh, uh, determines who's chasing what and things like that, or how your character reacts when you attack creatures. So I don't know what that's there for. Alright, hold on one second. Alright, sorry about that. I turned off my notifications for line. People keep messaging me. Um, okay, so next one. Show names of creatures, show marks on creatures, show PvP frames on creatures, icons and NPCs. The icons on NPCs, if you notice on my map... Ah, okay, there we go. Notice on my map these little bubbles. Each one is an icon. These are basically what the NPC map, markers are. So like this little... Uh, This little bag is basically equipment shops. Oh, there we go. I can just hold over and it'll tell me. Depot, post and banks. Paladin spells, distance store and training. Temple. Alternate bank. There should be a knight place. There's a sorcerer spell and training. Oh, up here. Is this knight? Nope, there's the castle. Well, there should be a knight place somewhere around here. I probably just haven't been there yet. So for the monster names and things like that, basically show the name of the creature. That's pretty obvious. Show marks on a creature. That's like damage and things like that. Like as the more you hit the creature, it might show damage and things like that. PvP frames on creatures. As far as I know, when you select a creature, you will see like this red square around it, and that's an indicator of who you're attacking, basically. Um, in confusing situations and fast-paced situations, I prefer to know what I am attacking, so I always have this on. Uh, Icons for the NPCs, that's what I was talking about earlier. Show the cooldown bar, that's over here. Um, for your spells, that's nice to have it on, so you know exactly when you can cast a spell again. Um, Ask before buying a product. That's You can probably get rid of this as long as you know what you're doing. But if you're unsure about buying a product from like a store or something like that, or maybe a spell, this is kind of nice to have on. I also keep this on mostly as just a throwback to Tibia when I used to play, because I'm just, once again, I'm just used to that system, so I like having uh, this option on. And then the textual effects is for water and things like that. So if your computer is able to handle it, oh, and the flag right here. If your computer is able to handle it, go ahead and turn that on. Makes the game look nicer. I mean, I'll say it again. This game isn't the most beautiful game, but it is quite it's one of my probably favorite games. Actually, it's the longest game. It's the game I've had the longest amount of play on. Uh, I'll go over hotkeys when I move over to my sorcerer. So to get back to our menu, um, if you notice when I was talking earlier about the running and chasing things, when you select your opponent, a monster, PvP, whatever, your character is going to react in a certain way, and that's determined by these two buttons. One, they're either going to chase after the opponent, or two, they're going to stand while fighting. Basically, they're going to stand still, and they're going to wait for the monster to come to them. There used to be a third option, which was really nice for the paladins, which was keep your distance, and your character would automatically run away from the monster, keeping you at a distance, so you could use your distance weapons. However, there were a lot of bugs in that your character would wind up running itself into a corner, and you couldn't get out. And so so I believe they took out the button for that reason. Um, for sorcerers, druids, and paladins, I would recommend running this all the time, and then manually moving yourself with the control, with the arrow keys, because that'll give you precise control, allow you to maintain a certain distance from monsters, and thus take less damage. Um, for knights, I recommend to always run after your creatures. Um, This will also enable your character to automatically move diagonally, which is something you can't do with your arrow keys. Second, these are your basically stances. Man, it is really noisy today. Moving vans, now a helicopter. Um, Basically, this is kind of how uh, oriented your stance is for your character when you're fighting. You have an offensive stance, which means you're focusing everything on attack. You're not even focusing on defense. You're trying to do as much damage as possible. This is full defense. You're trying to block everything, just trying to maintain basically like your tank. You're trying to block all the damage while not putting too much stock into the offense. If you're in a team and you have like sorcerers, you want the sorcerer doing the damage, and the knight, you want to be on full defense. You're the one who's drawing aggro and blocking and things like that. And then there's half attack, half defense, or balanced as the game calls it, where you're putting equal amounts of uh, focus on attack and defense. Um, this is really good for training, especially when you have a shield, um, because you'll train both your shielding and your offensive. If you're full aggressive, your sword training or your offensive weapon, whatever you're using, goes up faster than your defense because you're focusing more on offense. Whereas if you're defending, your shielding will improve faster than your offensive weapon, theoretically. Um, Honestly, there's a formula that goes into training that I will include in a training video after this. Um, Second is this E and the PvP. So basically, the E is you're toggling your PvP settings. Basically, if it's on, then you're allowing PvP per se. Um, Now there are different settings. There's the dove setting, which means you want nobody attacking you. You're basically in a safe zone, protected zone. You don't, if somebody attacks you, you are allowed to defend back and you have no worry about getting a skull or anything like that. Um, White hand mode, you're able to defend yourself and your teammates, like when you group up. Um, I wish I had Spiral on here for this part, but if you right click on, you can invite them to a team. Let's see here, add new favorite sorting, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't think I'm getting the status because he's not on, but you should be able to invite him to a team, and then you can have a team group kind of thing like that. And so basically, if they're in that group, if they're being attacked, you can defend them. However, you are at risk at getting a yellow skull, and I'll go over these skulls in a little bit. Yellow hand, if you see a skulled player, you can attack them with pretty much no uh, risk. Although it says here that you risk getting a yellow skull as well. Um, and then red fist mode, which is you can attack and block anyone, but you risk white, red, and black skulls, as well as protection zones. Okay, that's right. That's what the yellow skull is. Okay, so now these skulls. First, there's the white skull. Basically, these are the skulls where you you were basically attacked in a PvP mode. And it doesn't really denote whether you attacked back or not. It just kind of shows that you're kind of open to PvP. But it's kind of like one of those request and duel kind of things. If you're a white skull, you could probably go up to them and say, "Hey, want to duel it out?" Kind of thing like that. Yellow skulls are basically uh, you were a white skull, but somebody attacked you, and you attacked back. So it was kind of like the self-defense skull. Red skull, it means you attacked somebody without a skull, um, and well, basically you just attack somebody without a skull. The black skull is you attack somebody without a skull and you killed them. Now, if you have a red skull and a black skull, anybody who's running around with the yellow hand mode is going to be killing you all the time because they're PKK, I believe is what it's called, player killer killers. Um, when you see a red or a black skull, people who kill you will not incur any penalties. The most they'll get is a yellow skull. And that's pretty much the lowdown of the PvP. Now, I'm in an optional PvP server, so you probably won't see me doing very much, too many PvP, and this button will probably almost always be off. Then you got a stop button, which, as it says right there, stops your current action. Then you have in your store inbox. Characters are now allowed to have your own stores, like set up your own bazaar and things like that. And that's where this is. And this is the actual store. So this is where you can do things like, oh wow, this is actually new. I didn't know. Okay, so this is something new. Um, you can oh wait, I heard about this. I heard about this. So you used to be able to buy premium subscriptions online with like a credit card or something like that, but I heard rumors that they were switching over to an in-game coin system. I believe you convert real money into coins, and you can use those coins to get things like premium, blessings, potions, runes, outfits, house stuff, transportation, or temple teleport. Okay. Extra service. Yes. Sex change. Name change. World transfer. Express world transfer. I'm guessing the transfer takes faster, I guess. Huh. Okay. Oh, it takes 6 months. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Now, the thing about houses and things like that, you can only have a house if you have a premium account, so I wouldn't worry about buying house equipment unless you have a premium account. Though this outfit thing is probably a pretty cool thing to have. Used to be that you had to complete a quest to um, get an outfit, but I guess they started allowing people to just buy them for cash. Because this is a uh, a free to play game, so they have to get money through subscriptions and things like this. Anyway, that's the I would call that the in-game store, and this is the player store. Now, the next part are these buttons right here. These are basically your information bars. They open up new windows down here. First one is your skills list. This is basically, think of this as the statistics window. Shows your experience, your level, how much it takes to get to the next one. Mana, soul points, capacity, speed, food, stamina, all this fun stuff. I am glad they added this food countdown. Um, Used to be you just right-clicked on food a whole bunch, trying to figure out if you can eat something or not. Um, then you got your magic level, and then your actual fighting skills, and then kind of your uh, special stats like critical chance and whatnot. Um, you can right click and hide certain things. Like for instance, on my knight, I'm a sword fighter, so I'd want to show my sword, hide distance, show my shielding. I don't really need to see my magic level, so I'd hide magic level. And this is just a way to kind of make this window smaller. Because if you show all skills, there's a lot of bars that you really don't need in here, you know what I mean? Like, alright. And it just makes it easier to get in here and see exactly what you want to see and get back to the game. Distance firing and hide that. Alright. So that's your skills window. Next is your battle window. This is basically the creatures that are nearby you. Now I'm in an empty part of town, so nobody's nearby me, but players will also show up here. Players and monsters. And when you're in here, you can actually select them um, for attack by left click, I believe. Left or right click. We'll figure that out later in the tutorial. When I do my battle tutorial. Next is the VIP window. This is basically your friends list. You can add anyone in here you want. You can just right click, add new VIP, search their name, and add it in. When they're red like this, that means they're offline. When it turns green, they're online. Next is your quest log. I have not really done too many quests on this character, which is good because I'll be using these characters to. The whole idea of this channel is to, make how-to videos. So we're going to be doing how-to quests and whatnot. So the less quests that I've done on this, the more I get to show you guys. And then next, which is a button I've never seen, unjustified points. Oh, never mind. I was wrong about the red, or red and black. So black is you've received basically enough, like basically three red skulls. Oh, what is it? Yeah. So basically, if you kill too much, then you're stuck in a black skull for a certain amount of time, and then that'll degrade over time. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, I don't do PvP too often, so I'm not too familiar with a lot of the PvP terminology and whatnot. And last but not least is the premium features. This is basically just an ad to try and get you to buy the premium account. But these are kind of like the cool things you can do as a PvP, or like the perks you get. Access to new areas and new monsters. You're allowed to train your skills while you're offline. Uh, you you get access to premium spells. You're able to travel by boat. Um, you can ride. You can get a mount, and you're able to fight in the arena. So, all in all, that is pretty much the layout of your map. About NPCs, and more specifically shops, depots, and places where you buy spells and whatnot. To start it off, this is where I am, is the equipment store. You can find you can find the stores if you have the icon selected in your option menu, Or you can go the old-fashioned way and just look for the signs. If you see a sword, offensive, they sell offensive weapons. If you see a armor, they sell defensive weapons, basically shields and armor. In all these stores, they will have these billboards up. You can, once again, Tibia Classic controls. If you double-click, you can look at it, and it'll tell you the kind of stuff they have. So leather helmet, chain legs, wooden shield, steel shield, blah 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 blah. However, in the old Tibia, you actually had to do that because it was quite unless you went to the NPC and said high list. That's how you would get the full list. Now in the new Tibia, we have shopping lists. So all you have to do is go up to an NPC, say hi. He'll say something. In the NPC dialogue, the highlighted dark blue words are basically keywords that'll bring you up to that'll move the conversation along. So all you have to do is do trade, and this is the NPC trade window. Basically, it has a buy and sell. So like these are all the things that I can sell to him. Ooh, I can actually sell him a Dwarven shield. I actually have an extra Dwarven shield that I need to sell. Um, anyway, so basically this is the buy and sell store. So basically you can select something, you'll get a preview of it, and you can double click at it again to look at it to see its stats, how much it is, how much armor it gives, or in the terms of weapons, its attack and defense. Then all you have to do is designate how many you want to buy and say OK, and you'll buy it. Selling works in the same fashion. Next is the all-important depot area. Now this is a pretty important area. By the way, side note, in case any of y'all were interested, that's what a mount looks like. Looks like that guy's riding some kind of lizard and this guy's riding a spider. Anyway, depots are very important because they house three functions: post office, banks, and, well, obviously the depot. For the post office, this is how, if you have multiple characters like me, sometimes one character might pick up something, an item or something that another character could use. And the way you do that is you go and buy this parcel and a label, and you put on the label, you will write your character's name and the city they live in, put that label in the parcel. In the parcel, you can then put the item in, and then run down here and click and drag the parcel onto the mailbox and mail it off, send it off. Now, if you've misspelled the name of the character or the name of the town, your parcel will just appear on top of the mailbox and you need to quickly throw it back into your bag before somebody else takes it from you. Because other characters can interact with it when it's outside, when it's on the outside. Second, and probably the second most NPC you'll find in the entire world, are the banks. So you start it the same way. You go up and say hi. Now you have three different functions. Basically balance. It'll tell you how much money you have in the bank. Then there's the withdraw command and deposit command. At the moment I don't have any gold with me, so I don't really have any gold. But for the sake of the video, I'll withdraw some. Let's see here. Withdraw, and he'll say, alright, how much do you want? So I actually did this the long way. You can just go in here and say withdraw 500. And then he'll say, are you sure? Yes. Oh, that's right. I guess I should also explain those. All right. Let's do 50. Yes. Okay, there we go. So there are actually three different coins in Tibia. There are, uh, let's see, what's my balance again? Let's see. I think it's 10,000. Yes. Okay. So platinum coins are basically 100 gold per coin. Or let go back, go back. There's gold, platinum, and diamond. Those are the three different coins that are in the game. The lowest is gold, then it's platinum, then diamond. And basically they operate in hundreds. So for every one platinum coin is 100 gold. For every one diamond coin, it's 100 platinum. Now, as you can see, I have nowhere near uh, uh, one diamond coin worth in my bank. Oh, I was silent too long. So he moved on to other business. Hello. Alright, bye. Oops. There we go. Alright. 7550. Yes. Alright, there we go. And there's how you deposit. But anyway, yeah, I'm sorry I can't show you a platinum coin. I mean, I guess I could walk around and find a character's house, and they usually have piles of them in there to show off and things like that. Now we have the depot system. And I must say that the new depot system after the recent update is a bit convoluted, in my opinion. When you open it up, you have first your mailbox. So basically if somebody sends you something, it'll pop up in here. And then here you have basically your market. Um, basically it's kind of works as the same as a bazaar, but everyone can look at this. So let's say you want to buy, oh, there we go, buy. There we go. A blue robe. You can go in here and basically buy offers are basically people who want to buy them. They're basically posting that, hey, I want to buy a blue robe. And they'll buy it from somewhere from this gold, this amount to this amount, ending at some point in time. For this one, it ends July 28th at basically 12:18 in the morning. And then up here are sell offers, basically people who are selling blue robes. Now this is very nice because in the olden days, you would go out to the depot, and there would just be people just spamming all the stuff they're selling, and you had to just cipher through this local chat. Basically, we would in the old days we'd minimize this as much as we can and just sit here and just scroll through here and try and find this guy and like, oh, he's selling what I want. Private message him, and then hope that you're the one who messages him first, and because it was a first come first serve. So this has really kind of smoothed out that process, and and enabled you to not only have access to other people, because the thing was is it was local. So you could only buy the stuff that people were selling in your town. Um, so this enables you to buy stuff that's in other towns and whatnot. Um, Next is the actual depot itself. Now this is where the convoluted part comes in, because they've added in this new system of, here's depot chest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah 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 blah. When all you really need is one. Because each box is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32. So you have 32 slots. Now, to most people, it's like, oh no, that's only 32 items. I can now see why I need another box with another 32 slots. When in reality, all you really need to do is do the old-fashioned stacking method. AKA, throw in a container item, and then put a container item in that container, and you have infinite storage. Boom. Never again will you have to try and remember, did I put that in chest 2 or chest 27? You know, you just go to chest 1, and I have my bags pretty much organized. Basically, I have my useful items. I have like my keys, my machetes, and my fishing rod, and my fishing uh, worms and things like that. My pickaxe, basically stuff that I need to get through environments or interact with the environments or go through doors. Basically questing items and whatnot. Then I have my necklaces and rings. Now necklaces and rings give you special benefits and things like that. Like the Dwarven ring, if I remember correctly, is prevents intoxication, so you can drink as much alcohol as you want. Uh, Axe ring increases the training speed of your axe skill. And then there are things with like silver amulets and dragon necklaces and everything like that. So this gives protection of fire by 8%. The silver amulet, protection of earth by 10%. And they have charges left. So basically I can take 200 hits of earth damage at a reduced 10%. Or 200 charges of reduced fire at 8%. A wolf chain necklace, I don't think it does anything. Yeah, it's just there for looks. But because those have charges, I tend to save them for important missions or quests or things like that. Now, one thing with the Tibia Classic controls, if you want to pull up the menu, you can do the control right click, and that'll give you your menu. Because normally you can't do an open a new menu with the Tibia Classic controls. I think, well, maybe. Was it shift? No. Okay, so shift and right click does does the same thing as double clicking. Basically look. But if you do a control right click, it enables you to get to that menu if you want to get to it, like opening up a different menu and things like that. Like I'm actually going to throw all these in here. There we go. And there we go. That's nice and organized. So basically these are all my what are y'all doing in here? My storage is no longer fully organized. Alright, next I have a food bag. Basically this is where I store all my food. In the game you will need to eat because that's how you regenerate health and mana over time. So I like to stockpile my food, so I always have some food on me, which I'm going to do right now. There we go. And then the reason I pulled those gems out is that I have my knick-knack bag. Basically just random stuff that might be of value, but doesn't really serve any purpose. but I might need them later on for like a quest or something like that. Ooh, white mushrooms. That could probably go in my food bag. There we go. Alright. And then this is what I'm talking about, items that other characters need. I obviously don't need a rod, a terror rod, but my druid might want it. So what I can do is I can then mail it to my druid, and uh, I don't have to worry about finding this rod or buying that rod for that character. Second, this sword and shield down here. This is basically for my knights. You have kind of this balance that you have to do of do you want to be one-handed or two-handed? Two-handed weapons, which I have equipped right now, give you the highest amount of damage. Whereas if you go with the one-handed weapons, you get to bring along a shield and have extra defense. So it kind of, for me, it depends on what I am hunting. If I am hunting something that I know that my shielding skill will block with just this 23 defense, then I'm going two-handed weapon, and I want to go through as just basically if I'm well, also if I'm just trying to kill things, I'm gonna go two-handed weapon. Um, Mostly I bring this shield out when I'm going into an area that I'm either A, unsure of that I can survive, or B, I'm training my shielding. So most of the time I'm gonna have my shield on, sword and shield on. Um, oh, and here's another thing. Blank runes. My knight doesn't need these or these mana potions, so that's once again another thing I can send to. Oh, hey, there's a dragon shield. Those are really nice. Um, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, that's just another thing that I want to send to my mage when I get the chance. Now, one more thing about depots. When you go inside, you get this little icon. Now what this means is you're protected. Nobody can attack you in here. So and if you're in a PvP area, be a little careful because you'll get a lot of these guys who will stand in front of the entrance and there's no way to get inside, and they'll laugh as they watch as some guy kills you right here. I speak from experience. um, but the thing about those protected zones is that when you're in there, you will not gain any mana or health. You won't regenerate any amount. So if you want to stand around and focus on rezzing up, doing it inside the depot is not the place. Um, Temples are basically when you die, those are the places that you respawn. And currently I am looking for the night spell place. So I'm going to pause the video while I try and find it. Okay, found it. So it was a little hard to find because it's upstairs. Hey, there's the night icon. So now trainers for the professions are basically how you get access to spells for your class. You can learn healings or supports. Let's see here. I only have spells for level 8, 10, and 13. Ah, I'm only magic level 3. Alright, how about support? Alright, same. Alright, well, basically that's that's kind of how you go about buying spells. But since I'm not a high enough magic level to learn any spells, I can't show you any of that. So I'll show you later on a different character. Um, Alright, welcome back, y'all, to basically our continuation of the basic training for the NPCs. This is my sorcerer, so hopefully this time I'll be able to show you guys um, basically how the spells kind of work. Yes, I know. Okay, so this person is actually an NPC in Carlin, which is another city, and she's kind of annoying because most NPCs you can just say hi trade and go right into it, but she requires you to say here first for some reason. A little quirk of hers. Anyway, um, normally in for since this is the sorcerer's area, it'll be in this probably the same in the druid area. You're gonna have two NPCs, one spell, one rune. The rune is basically where you can buy blank runes or spell runes and potions. They also sell wands, yeah, wands and rods as well. So remember that terror rod that I was gonna send to my druid? 10,000 gold. I just saved my druid 10,000 gold basically by going and killing something with my knight. That going and kill something with my knight that my druid can't kill, and get my druid a terror rod. Uh, that's the typical multi-character mindset, is to use your higher level characters to buff up your weaker level characters. Anyway, that's kind of that for that for those like magic supplies, and then for spells, for um, sorcerers, you're gonna have rune spells and instant spells, spells that work like that, and rune spells that require a blank rune to make a rune. So for this, we'll just say rune. No spells for this level, but for many levels, from 8 to 5. Okay, so basically I bought all my rune spells. Alright, well how about instant? Okay, so once again I've already bought all my spells up to this level. Anyway, so basically what will happen is she would list the spells that she has available, and then you'd say, I want the light healing spell. Okay, here you go. I want cure poison. Okay, here you go. Blah, 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 blah. And then you're also given a spell book for, which is actually kind of nice because it acts as a defensive, uh, uh, I guess, shield for the spellcasters. Um, as you can see, we have very low capacity, so you'll find most spellcasters keeping a spell book as their defensive item. I have a dwarven shield though because I want my as high a defense as possible. Um, at least for at this point in time, because I was hunting with my sorcerer earlier. When I'm training, I'll throw uh, my spell book up in there, and the reason for that I'll explain later whenever I do the training video. Um, Second thing, let's see here, using spells. All right. First off, let's see here, 350. All right, I got enough mana. Oh, well, while that's charging up, hotkeys. I said I would explain that with my mage. Hotkeys. Basically, this is how you can set up your spells to be kind of one off, either to be sent automatically without you having to type all this stuff out. So like I have my spell set up: Great Light, Great Healing, Cure Poison, This is my Knight's healing spell. Um, then I have some attack spells, basically Flame Wave, um, Magic Shield, Energy Beam, and Summon Monster. Then I have my rune spells, basically stuff that I like, spells that basically I want for making runes and whatnot. Do I actually Devo Graph Flam? What is that? Oh, Firefield. Okay. And that would be Destroy Field. Okay, so those were what my hotkeys are. And there we go. Okay. So these are the rune spells that I know right now. You can set up your hotkeys to be anything you want. Um, you can even set up hotkeys for potions and things like that. Um, I tend to just keep my potions right here and just right click and use it. I've never been in a situation where I wasn't able to click faster than the monster could kill me. But then again, I play relatively safe, so if you're the more adventurous type who likes to push your limits, you might want to put potion using in your hotkeys. And it expands more than just the straight F1 through F12. You can also do Shift F1 through F12 and Control F1 through F12. So you can have quite let's see here, 36 hotkey inputs. Alright, now, spells. So, for rune spells, first you type in the word, you had to make sure you have the mana, and you had to make sure you have at least one blink rune in your inventory. When you cast the spell, it goes off, the countdown will go down, and you'll notice I'll have created 10 runes of heavy magic missile for the price of one blink rune. Now you're not always going to get 10 runes per spell. It really depends on the spell. If I remember correctly, Firefield creates 3 runes of Firefield for one spell. So uh, you really need to understand what you're getting per mana use, and that'll actually later on when you decide if you're a sorcerer, this is actually a very good income for you, because what you can do is you can make sorcerer only runes like sudden death runes, and what you can do is you can go and sell backpacks of them for like thousands and thousands of gold, and people will buy them because they don't want to sit around and make all these runes. And then you can take that money and buy stuff and go on adventures and whatnot. When I'm rune making, though, I usually do it while I'm training, and it's a nice way to kind of multitask. Not only are you training your shielding, but you're also training your magic level as well, because well, every time you use your mana, it goes towards your magic level. So by creating runes, you're increasing your magic level. And that's pretty much the magic system. Alright, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this little segment. It's gonna be pretty short, but it's a pretty good thing that I need to point out. So I'm gonna call it pro tip number 1: berry bushes. As I've said, you always want to be eating, because you always want your mana and health to be regenerating. Now, when you're training your magic level, at no point do you want to have your mana at full capacity, because mana at full capacity is not regenerating, which means you're losing some of the effectiveness of your food. So you always want your mana regenerating, and you never want your mana full, and you always want to be eating things. Pro tip comes in the berry bush. No matter how hungry or how full you are, I have never been able to not eat a blueberry. And when you're walking in the wilderness, you just find them everywhere. And so they are probably the best way to make sure you're always regenerating and always full to the max. Oh, berry bush. And see, this is just what I'm talking about. They're just everywhere in the wilderness. And now, since we've walked this far, I will go ahead and do the combat intro as well. So I guess this segment will actually be a part of the basic training video that I'm putting together. Now, this is a monster, bear. Right now, he's attacking me, but I have such good defense that he's not breaking through, which is what the puff of smoke is. Now, let's see. Let's go half attack, half defense. Okay. I'm not getting any, but in some of my later videos... Oh, there we go. That yellow mark. Yellow mark means you blocked it. Smoke means he misses. And blood means I got hit. Those are basically the three telltale signs of what's happening to your character at this point in time. Now, it works the same way on your attacks for the monsters. Either you miss, the monster blocks it, or you deal damage. But for mages it's different because we attack with wands. So what you get is this. So, fireball. Now, if you remember correctly, I mentioned in my little settings area about the PvP boxes. You can kind of see it right now, kind of blinking black. Black means somebody's interacting with you or attacking you, targeting you, something along those lines. White means this is the one you're looking at, kind of thing like that. Which is, so like if there was another bear down here and I had my mouse on them, you'd probably see him highlighted somewhere in the distance walking towards me or something along those lines. Now, as I said earlier as well, you can either right click on them onto the actual screen or you can left click them in the battle menu. And the box then turns red, which means you're attacking them. Thank you for the meat. It was delicious. And anyway, that's pretty much the battle system. And that should also probably bring my training video to a close. I would say with that, you're pretty much ready to tackle most, at least the most basic of problems that Tibia has to offer for you. I think the next video, how-to video I'll be putting out is the training video that I've been talking about. And I don't know, I might just make the training video a separate video, or I might make it included in my basics video. We'll see what happens when I get down to the video editing and see how long this video is. And I just realized that I forgot to show y'all instant spells. So instant spells. I have quite a few instant spells. And the way they work is pretty much as soon as you press enter, they go off. So, for instance, What's my hotkey for F6? Okay. So, I'm being attacked by a frost troll right now. And they are weak against energy. And strong against fire, if I remember correctly. Anyway, the spell I will be showing you for the tutorial is Great Energy Beam. It just shoots out a straight beam of energy damage. Boom. Fish. Um, and that's pretty much how instant spells work. You just press the button and they go. And if you level, the higher magic level you have, the more damage you can deal. So that spell I just used there was a flame wave, which is so each of the spells kind of acts in different ways and has different effects and whatnot. So you really need to know what spell you're using and its effectiveness. Um, and since I'm also thinking about it right now, when training your magic level, when you use your wand, as I said earlier, as long as your mana goes down, you're training your magic level. And that works. That also counts for your wand and your and your rods for your druids. Every attack you do is basically just a little bit more for your magic level. Oh, and I guess I'll point it out as well since I'm kind of adventuring at this part as I make my way to my usual training spot. You almost always want, no, not almost. You always want to carry a rope and a shovel. Because there will be times when you come across basically a pile, what looks like a pile of rocks. And that's basically a tunnel entrance for you to go underground. You're not always going to have a stairs like I had whenever I entered this area. So you'll need those shovels to go down. And then to get out of them, you will always need a rope. This is actually, you, while the shovel is kind of optional, you always want a rope. And that is simply because, especially in PK worlds, because in PK worlds, there's a popular PK method, which is, I believe it's called PKM, basically player killer monsters, or monster. With monster, something along those lines. Basically, what they do is that characters will wait by a hole that has very dangerous monsters below. Because in Tibia, when you go down a level, it's like in a cave. It's not like you're going like one step higher of monster difficulty. Sometimes you walk down and you're fighting something you can't, or you're encountering something you can't really fight until you're like level, like 20 levels higher than what you really are. Um, so it's always good to be careful of people just standing around these holes, and to always have some rope with you. Um, I'll also explain my bag here. When you're hunting, your gold, it tends to I find that having the gold stacks in your main bag right here a bit distracting. So I like to bring a bag along and throw my gold in here and just collect it in there. A lot of players do this, so if you ever come across like a human corpse, and they have this bag, always check that bag, because there's a good chance that that's where they're kind of hiding all their stuff or cash or whatnot. You never know what's going to be in there. Oh. Now, on the topic of that one gold coin that I just ran back for, a lot of people would see like, oh, it's just one gold coin, but let's think about this. There, you can encounter rooms where there are like 20 spiders, cast one spell and kill all of them, and then let's give them the benefit of doubt of dropping 2 gold each. That's 40 gold right there. That's just a little bit under halfway to a platinum coin. So if you ever come to a part where you're like, oh, it's just 1 gold, just think that 1 gold could be all you need.